location on. Oh God.
Where you from? From Mexico. What part? Like, where's your family from?
DF?
Where?
Centro? El DF? It's
I've
like
never heard it.
Mexico City.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Shit, I haven't even heard that. I'm not even from Mexico.
Guerrero,
Well, wait,
Michoacan.
no. She's Puerto Rican. She doesn't.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
but I've only
that's
known, like, I know I love Mexican, but I've only, like, known of, like, you know, certain, like, Guerrero, Michoacan.
Yeah.
What else? That are known.
Chihuahua. You
Mhm.
know, like that.
Chihuahua.
My dad's from
Milagro?
Chihuahua, so.
My parents are from Chihuahua.
Oh,
Where you're
okay.
from, Beyonce, where's your family from?
Chihuahua, Guanajuato.
Okay, I heard of one. Okay.
Yeah, no, my mom's a little bougie.
She worked from, like, the city, yeah, okay.
My mom's a little bougie, and my
Puerto
dad.
Rico worked from, like, the campo, like, the real.
We're a little poor, so.
You guys are live on YouTube right now. Just you know.
Oh, hi. So, yeah.
Hello.
Alrighty, guys, let's go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Camera on. Red. You guys are on. Alright, here we go. Come on, drinky drink.
My drink.
Cheers.
That's your character.
My dad, Dr. Kelp.
Wait, are you guys showing the Pepsi?
No, Pepsis.
So,
Alright, you guys ready?
we'll have to start taping them, though.
Alright, everybody, welcome to another episode of Wake Up, Girls Edition. Let's give it up for Chicago. Alright, ladies, so today we're doing a little Girls Edition. We're going to switch it up from what we usually do. Today's topic is going to be more towards the Latin culture and more Hispanic culture. We're going to talk about that weird uncle everybody has in their family. Everybody has that, unfortunately, everybody has that weird perverted uncle that everyone just lets it slide by. Like, oh, he's just that Theo, And unfortunately, if you bring it up to a Latino girl, like, you can tell her that Theo and she'll know what you're talking about. And that just shows the stigma is out there. So, right here we got Beyonce over here to the left. And then we got over here Martha over here to the right. So the age groups are kind of different. We got 21, 27, and 22 over here. But right now, we all can say we can experience that Theo in the family.
Definitely.
All right, Beyonce, I'm going to give it to you. Can you give a little more explanation about your experiences with that Theo?
So growing up, yeah, we definitely had that weird deal in the family. And we didn't really talk about it until I was like, 15, 16. And then it I kind of caught on to it, like, you don't go over there dressed a certain way. You don't go over there wearing tight clothes. And it's like, why? Like, the fuck? I wear whatever the fuck I want.
How old were you when this happened?
When I first realized that he was that Theo was like 14, 15.
Okay.
But more recently that I've been going over more often, I've noticed it too. He does too fucking much.
Why should be tuning into this podcast?
Right.
Girl,
about me?
I know for Mexicans, it's normal for us, when we say hi, the kiss on the cheek.
Yes.
He overdoes it. Why is
What do you mean by overdoes it?
why
Can you
is
give
my
us
cheek wet? Why are
He
you
gives
trying
you a sloppy kiss on
Girl,
the cheek?
he be trying to tongue my cheek. I don't even know. Now it's hi, that's it. And I'm not
You don't
gonna
even
do all
wanna hug
that.
them.
No, it's uncomfortable. It's just weird as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. What was it? Maybe a month ago, I went over, and it was after I had left the gym. So I'm in leggings, they're pretty tight, and then I had a sports bra, but I had a sweater on, a gym sweater. But they're
It was
kind of
fitted.
It was fitted, so everything's nice and tight, with nice and slim.
So what happened?
And I just heard when the iPhone camera goes off, that little
Take pictures of you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I heard it go off 2-3
it
times.
off.
And I was like, yeah, y'all make it oid. I'm done. We're not.
And you
doing
knew it was him?
I knew. It was only him and my fucking grandma. My grandma's fucking 93 years old. I know she and no fucking
Not
iPhone
no
taking
flicks.
pictures.
Wow.
And
Did you say anything at that moment, or?
No, I didn't. I was just in shock. Wow. I feel everything just hit at once.
Yeah.
All the stories and everything were just damn.
Yeah, I feel it's different when you're a girl and people say oh, if that happened to me, I would do this, this, and this. But when you're in that situation, you kind of get overturned as a woman, overthrown. You kind of feel really vulnerable and just debating on how if you should react or not. Because at the end of the day, it's your family and what's gonna happen. No one's gonna say nothing. In the Latino culture, the family always chooses family. You know, we let like abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and we all let that shit slide. So like, what's it letting it slide a weird uncle? Like that's just normal. And I know what you're saying. You said something about when you could just like you just feel weird over them. Like, did you ever tell anybody in your family about that?
I would tell my sisters honestly, just because they are younger than me, so you know I feel a type of way. So it's like, you know, when you're over there, like, don't be too close, don't get too comfortable. Like, I just wouldn't want them to put themselves in a situation where he feels like he's able to take advantage of mine, because I feel like that's not okay. I feel like family or not, bitch, you finna.
So Martha, have you ever had like an experience where it's like right when you're pre-pubescent ages, like 15, 14, where you feel like your family's ever told you, oh, you can't wear that because we're going around your theos?
So, I mean, my family's very conservative anyways. So, I do remember, I don't think I have any, like, pervy uncles. I did have a more crazy uncle, which was just, like, more like, oh, I'll take you to go get tattoos, we'll go drinking. But then at the end of the day, you, like, never also know what his intentions were. I was 15. He got deported, so.
You were 15 when he was trying to take you out for drinks?
Yeah, like, he was like, I'll take you, like, to go get a tattoo, like, whatever you want to do, blah, 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 blah. Again, like, he was, you know, he got deported when I was, like a year later. But I didn't know really what his intentions were. I never felt any pervy way from him. But at the end of the day, you know, you can never be too sure. He was living with us for a little bit. I did also, like, receive a compliment. Oh, my God, you finally got boobs now. Like, because I was a very late bloomer. Like, I literally had no titties. And then I woke up and I'm like, oh, titties. I was so happy.
So what age did he tell you you had boobs now?
Like 15. Yeah,
15.
Like 15 is when I woke up and I'm like, oh,
Did you ever like look back now that you're older now, saying like, damn, like now that if you would have said that to me now, it would be like overthrown?
I would, yeah, for sure. I don't think he ever like really tried because he was like never really always like he was never.
It wasn't physical. It wasn't less physical.
Yeah, I mean like I wasn't much of a drinker in high school anyways, so I was more of a smoker. But he was like always down to smoke me out and stuff like that too. So
did he ever try to like get along with like your family thought that it was pretty normal for him to take you out drinking at that age?
Oh, he wouldn't have told them. It would have been like.
So you think that's kind of like those big red flags where you see where all of a sudden he wants to do all these things for you but doesn't want to hear parents. Like that's kind of weird, don't you guys think?
You know what? In a way, I guess I never really thought about it. It is a little
I feel like thinking about it now, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe a little, maybe.
Like
it's
if one of your uncles, brothers, or cousins tried taking your little daughter out to drink at 15, get tattoos, get fucked up, like, how would you react? Like, do you think your daughter would keep it secret, or do you think you would notice those signs as a parent?
At 15, I think I would be livid, only because I wasn't doing that shit. I mean, I was smoking weed at that time, but I wasn't even like partying or going to the club. You know, like there's people that go to the club at that age. I wasn't doing that. I for the most part, I was like more of like a stoner session with like friends. I wasn't really like a party person. But if I found out my brother or my cousins were trying to take my daughter out at 15, I would be fucking livid. I'd probably, oh man, I wouldn't know what that person's intentions are, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
People are weirdos behind doors, you know?
They're always the friendly ones are always the weirdos. I feel like we notice as guys, like the ones who always are like family oriented, oh I'll take the kids, or let me do it primo, like they're always the ones that are like extra. And I feel like as soon as they get liquor involved, it's kind of like even more weirder.
Yeah, a whole different person.
Go ahead.
I will say that I have experienced a weird uncle from like being at other
families.
Other family parties and stuff where they're like just looking at you, or like, you know, they're like with the camera, kind of like you, like maybe not being so obvious about it, but like videotaping, and then I don't know where, like, you know,
it's
just
like, you.
You just notice like little things, or like I remember I went to a costume party, Halloween party, and I was dressed up pretty sexy, you know, whatever.
Of course.
And one of the Theos at that person's house was just like literally eyeballing me like I was like a fucking like $100 steak, like
gotta be
like and like doing like this. I'm like
like a fucking lizard. The fuck?
And it makes you so concerned where like you don't even want to say nothing because it's a family party and you don't want to make a scene.
So uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable. I've been in that situation similar to myself where I have like a weird Theo or multiple Theos, and honestly my family's kind of small now. But when we were bigger, I feel like there was a lot of those fucking Theos, and they're usually the ones that were fresh off the boat from Mexico, the ones who don't see American women and how they dress, and Do you feel like that's okay just because they're not used to it?
No,
They can look at you
It's
like
not
that?
okay. Never. It's never okay. I feel like in any culture, it's not okay for any man to look at us that type of way. No matter how the fuck we dress, no matter how the fuck anything, it don't matter. You shouldn't feel like it's okay for you to think about me that way or even try to fucking approach me in that way. It's just.
Can I say?
Go
I
ahead. No,
agree
no,
with you.
go ahead.
I agree with you. But I just want to say that everybody is raised very differently in different
Mhm.
cultures. Some people like marry their cousins, you know,
Yeah.
and some people are just
That's
raised
just
differently.
fucking
So like,
weird. I can't.
it is weird.
I
For,
can't.
it's so
Sorry
weird.
for those, but
no,
that's just fucking
so
weird.
I find it so weird too. But when somebody's raised in that culture, they don't know what's wrong and what's right.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
know
we gotta
like,
teach
and
them.
I know like in Mexico they marry their women off at 16, 17.
Yeah, in
sometimes.
Mexico that's normal.
Yeah.
Like
So guys that come from Mexico, they come over thinking it's okay to do that here in
Right.
America.
Well, we
But they don't
have to show
understand.
them that no, it's
not.
not.
It's
because that's
different.
not
Here.
okay.
So you don't think it's
not.
okay for them to bring in their Hispanic culture from their country over
No,
here?
it's not.
Even
Not
though
those-
America's known for
No,
gentrifying and
certain
diversifying?
parts of their culture, yeah, that's fine. Things that are acceptable, but that type of shit, no,
'Cause
it's
it's
not
law.
okay.
It's
You're not
law.
gonna fucking
It's illegal.
objectify these little ass girls. That's fucking wrong. Go to hell.
I agree. I feel like women, yes, we mature faster mentally, and men mature way later.
Yeah.
But
Their
even
brain don't fully develop until they're 25.
25. Ours is 18 or 21. 18. Still very very young. We're still like so more mentally like established and like further than them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just I understand that they have that little like slow issue with them, but that doesn't really justify anything.
It doesn't.
I still think they should still learn our ways. Like if we go anywhere else, we have to learn their ways. They have to learn our ways.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. Different country, different rules. So do you feel like a lot of parents surpass, like, you know, you said, our parents make us dress a certain way. I know many times when I was younger, my mom would be like, oh, you can't wear that.
Mhm.
Don't wear that. Why? We would be like, why? Because just because we're curious, not really much because of attitude or anything. Why? Because tios. It's always, I feel like for me, always the answer was, oh, your tios, your uncles, your grandpa are going to be there. Okay, why can I be a girl and be a little girl and dress how I want, show a little bit of skin without my Theo looking at me like he wants to fuck me? I feel like that's a little weird. Do you feel like us, like most Latino mothers, they feel like they know what they're telling their children to do, and they're kind of saying it in a more subliminal way, so the child's not concerned that the uncle's gonna do nothing or no harm, but at the same time they know as women, and we kind of like allow that to happen. Do you feel like that's just gonna be a generational curse that we just
I
always
feel
keep
like-
on?
I feel like that's just cause that's just how they were raised, like generation through their generation. Like, oh, just
Look the other way.
yeah, look the other way. But it's like now this generation, we're not like that. Like, I know I'm not.
We're
I've told
outspoken.
my mom several times, like if that weird Theo, if he ever tries anything, like he's going to jail.
Mm-hmm. Catch
Never,
your case today.
never, no. And I feel like the one thing that is so weird about the weird Theos is their kids sometimes don't know that they're the weird Theos.
That's the one. That's
Their
had-
kids, their own kids. To clarify,
Their
their own kids.
I'm gonna tell you. So one of my cousins, the weird Theo, his son, he's a little bit older than me. He's probably like 23. But anyway, I had brought it up to him one time after the picture situation. I was like, I don't feel comfortable around your dad. Like if I come and hang out with you, like it needs to be when he's in bed or when he's not home. Like I just don't feel comfortable around him. And he's like, what do you mean? And I explained the situation to him. I'm like, he's that weird Theo. I was like, every family has it. And he was like, yeah, I know. But he was like, I never seen it that way. And I'm like, yes. And him being that he has kids, I'm like, you have
Scary.
to be careful. Like, you never know. I'm not saying that my Theo would put your kids in that situation, but do you want to
You
put your
never
kids in
know.
that situation? Yeah, you never know. That's the thing.
It's really
And
weird,
he was
yeah.
just so fucking shocked and like flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And I was just like, now you know. And he was like, ever since then, he don't bring his daughter, his youngest daughter, he don't bring her to the house. That's the one thing I noticed. She's never there.
I think it's the feeling of feeling like violated.
Yeah, like you feel lighter without being touched.
Right, like
Literally.
violated. You can
Extreme
feel,
vulnerability.
and I will say that's one thing I can appreciate about this generation. Not too many things, but this new generation, they will like they're very like they advocate
They
towards
stand
like
for their ground.
and standing like for like not letting that happen. Like they don't play that shit, and I love that about them. I will say that like they're not playing with that shit, and they're also very big on exposing people, like which is huge because if I find out someone's like, ew, he's a creeper, ew, he likes like younger girls. people are gonna know. People are like, if you fuck with that person, you're disgusting too.
Yep.
You're allowing behavior.
Yeah.
You're ignoring
Exactly.
behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys feel like, I feel like personally I've had Theos where they would do wrong. I've actually had Theos who got locked up for doing things like that. And they would come
Really?
back into the family like that. Like I have
nothing
one,
happened?
I'm not gonna say no names, but I just had overdrewn, like I had a Theo who used to take care of us, right? Me and my sister, we'd get babysitted. And like you said, like they don't ever really do anything to their own kids. It's usually to like somebody else's kids. Because they're diehard dads, but they're still horny fucking men when it comes to outside their kids. So I had this Theo who was married to my mom's cousin, and you know they've been together for a long time. They had 2 kids. They would watch me when my parents would work. Me and my sister and their 2 kids, and they had a boy. They had a girl. So a while passed. I had a dinner with my mom. I would say I was probably like 8 years old. My mom had to sit down with me at a table talking about, did anything ever happen to you? Did anybody ever touch you? Do you see Theos ever taking pictures of you? And you're just sitting there as a little kid. Like I remember it just sitting there like, how is she asking me this? Like, just curious on why she's asking me, but I'm naive as hell, so I'm just answering the questions like, no, nothing ever weird. And little did I know, my uncle got raided by the FBI for child pornography.
Get the fuck out of here.
And he was doing it to his own daughter, but not us.
Because when you're young,
Oh
you
my
don't notice
God.
those signs, but it's like now that we're
You
older,
think it's
it's
love.
like it's weird as fuck.
You think everything's like innocent. You
Yeah,
know?
we don't look at it that way.
It's just because we're like raised like that. you
And
know?
naive, like you said. Naive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, you're right. That's wild. Like child pornography is like a whole nother level of like what the actual fuck. That's
And it's kind of creepy because we kind of like allow the behavior. Why do you think that we allow it? Because I have another experience where I have a family member that personally I felt uncomfortable with, and I kind of broke down and told my parents about it, and they kind of didn't really worry about what already happened. They were worried about warning the little cousins, warning the little girls, other ones in the family that are around this guy. Like you said, they were kind of making sure that nothing ever happened to the other little girls. But at the same time, why are we worried about if anything ever happened? We should be worried about stopping the problem. Why do you think Latinos don't ever make these men take accountability? Why do you think the dads don't step up and be like, why the fuck you looking at my daughter like that? Why are you doing that? Why don't think we ever stop them? We just let them be that Theo. Because if you say it, every Latino knows what that Theo means. So it's normal. Why is it normalized?
I'm gonna like, this is my opinion, okay?
Go ahead.
I think mamas are the problem. The way these men still stuck on their mom's titties.
Baby boys.
Thank you.
It's like, like I literally get disgusted, and I think it's like they're always trying to protect their baby cub when they're like balding and they're like 31. And I'm just like, baby, like that man got wrinkles on his forehead.
That
like,
man balls to his
crazy.
knees. It's ready for him to
His balls
go.
next to his fucking ass crack. Like, ain't no fucking
The light
way.
is waiting for you.
Right. Okay. And to me, it's just like, I blame mothers. Unfortunately, when it comes to something like this, it's women, and then women convince the husbands because, you know, it's like the woman sets the rules and the man usually just follows it. And especially like in an old traditional couple, you know, like women mostly in discipline, men enforce. And I feel like that's the biggest thing is women will see signs early on, but they will like look the other way because it's their son and they want to.
We'll try to find the benefit of the doubt.
But
in
exactly.
everything,
Well,
in
what's
everything.
because he lost his
We'll find
dad.
a reason for
But-
every fucking
Because
mistake.
his,
Why do you
his
think
hamster
that?
died in second
I
grade,
don't
so he's
know,
still
but
learning from that.
honestly, in my family,
Because they're women too, so why do you think they allow that behavior?
I don't know, but I feel like in Hispanics, I feel like it's always the youngest. The youngest kid the youngest male always gets away with every
Everything.
single thing.
Or the only male.
Everything.
Or
The
only
only male gets away with everything. And I'm just like, why? Like, why do you baby this grown ass man for no fucking reason? Man being his fucking over 25 years old and you're still having your mom take care of you? Like, you're a bum ass nigga at this point. You are.
I agree.
So do you guys feel like you feel like the mom's the problem? That's where the problem starts.
Yes.
I mean, it can. I'm not saying.
Not all cases, but most
not
cases.
all cases, but most cases, the way they baby like these baby boys, like if to me, like I will see Mexican women, well not Mexican, I'm sorry, I will see Hispanic women, and this kid is fucking like 2 years old and still sucking on the mom's titty. If your son can walk to you to suck on, like, that's a problem. That's a problem. Is that not a problem? Like,
No, it is.
like I'm not telling you how to
So
raise
you against
your baby,
breastfeeding
but
on
like.
young age? Yeah, I told a lot of people do that.
You do
Their kid will
that.
be like 5, 6 years old, go suck it
Still
on some
in
milk
the
at a family party.
Still in the motherfucking fucking stroller facing you. Get the fuck on.
Still sleeping with their like
Get him
kid
a bottle or
walking.
keep on. Yeah.
Fucking weird. So to me, it's like, I don't know if you know your baby, your son, and your son can do no wrong, and that's just like, if your son can do no wrong and he can't take accountability for shit that he does, then that's a problem. That's gonna mean like you're looking the other way for everything, and it's gonna be like, it's a pattern. It's a pattern at this point, right?
I've noticed that. I've seen a lot of mama's boys be very touchy with their moms. The ones who are mama's boys are usually the ones that are like, oh, when they're children, they're so close to their babies. You know, they shower with them, which is normal. I feel like a lot of Latinos shower with their parents when they're older.
Yeah.
Normal, you know, breastfeeding, always spending one-on-one time with them, and then touching them naturally as just being a kid, and then over time they grow up thinking it's okay to keep touching a woman like that because the mom allows it. So I feel like at the end of the day, it does come from a lot of the mom's lack of discipline, but do you feel like at the end of the day it comes from the father or any behavioral issues, or do you think it's just that person? Because I feel like it's too common for it to just to be a guy being like a pervert. It's got to be generational or through the family.
No, I feel like if a man or if a boy does just grow up seeing their father abuse their mother in a certain way or take advantage of women in a certain way, yeah, they're going to grow up with those bad habits. But I feel like as a man, you should be able to be like, oh, that's not right. I shouldn't be doing that shit. And you should be able to put yourself on a different path. And if you can't do that, then, like I said, you're a bum ass nigga.
But that's what I'm saying is like, and especially in Hispanic households, the woman usually stays and takes care of the kids, right? And the man usually works. That's why I'm saying like the woman will discipline and the man will enforce.
Mm-hmm.
If I come home and I'm like, hey, he did this and he did that, you need to whoop his ass. The husband's gonna do it. So I'm saying like the woman might be the eyes and the man might be like the
because the man's
the
always
hand.
around. Yeah.
But like it's the woman looking away and not saying anything. So that's why it definitely plays a part with both, because you should still be a dad too and do your own part for sure. But it's the woman too. Like it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming it on women, because women are not always the problem. But you have to also, discipline is so huge, and I feel like especially in this generation, we are losing a little bit of discipline. We're lacking it more and more.
Yeah,
I
do agree.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But I feel like we're getting better at it though. Like I feel like we're
Slowly.
able to like, oh, identify the red flags. Like, oh, you know,
That's true.
he's
Great generation
weird. He's
curses.
weird with this point. Like, okay, you can't do this and this around him. Like that's weird as hell. I'm not gonna bring my kids around you.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you feel kind of pity, because I feel like I have personally seen a Theo just look at me wrong, and I'll be like, damn, like I could really make this a big deal right now. I could really get those Theos who are advocates for never touching a woman.
Now that we know like the icks, I feel like now like when any Theo looks at you the wrong way or like a weird way, you're not like, oh, is he looking at me like he's trying to fuck me, or is he just fucking weird in general?
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's kind of confusing and everything, and overall, I don't know. I feel like personally, I don't know where the stigma came from. I feel like it originally came, like you said, where you could marry a woman at 15.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come to this country, they come to these family parties, they come marrying their cousins. Typically, they're used to looking for girls that age. So they come to America looking at us like pre-pubescent, pre-teens, you know, maybe sports bras, nipples showing through the shirt. Some girls are fully developed, whatever the case may be. I feel like they still do it because they think it's okay and that's their generation and that's what they do in their community, but they do it all over the country. So do you feel like this issue is just more Latino based, or do you feel like Latinos experience it more?
I feel like it's all it can happen to anybody. I think it all boils down to principles and standards, and it's just the way you're raised. And we do have the power to break generational curses. I feel like if we stand up and we really do, you know, analyze our children and their behavior and try to like really help them, and also make sure our daughters or even our sons, because anybody can get molested.
They always want to correct the daughters and the sons.
You know, right? We need to correct both, but we also need to teach our kids to speak the fuck up, because it can happen to anybody, and we just need to tell them like, hey, if you're not okay with confrontation, tell me at least. Your kids need to be okay with speaking to the parents too. Yeah. I feel like sometimes they shy away from it.
They're trying to scare us.
It's your Theo or your Thea. Like, it can be anybody.
They kind of shame your feelings for it. Those
yeah.
Like, he's not doing that, your Theo, stop. I've experienced that where I told my family member, I'd be like, he's doing this, it's kind of weird. Like, my Theo keeps grabbing my lower back and working his way up.
Too much,
and then you tell somebody and they're kind of like, oh, you're just weird. Like, they're just trying to dance. Like, I know when a man is trying to dance Latino culture with me, and I know when a man is trying to dance sensual with me.
You feel it in your
And I
gut.
feel it, and I should not feel my feel get into my ass crack or get into my breasts. And that's just how I feel. And they might do that because they're just weird, and I don't know. I feel like Mexicans are just horny when they're drunk. That's just how it is. But I feel like the stigma should be changed. And if you guys have to give the poll or our followers one advice to really break this curse, what do you think it would be?
Speak up to your kids. I feel like letting them know about this young. I feel like even though in your mind it's like they don't know about sex, they don't know about this. Okay, maybe they don't know about it, but these grown-ass people that you have watching them, they do know. They know what the fuck they're doing. They know they can take advantage of these kids if they don't know what the fuck is going on. So talk to your kids about sex. Let them know what it is. Let them know your tios, your cousins. Nobody should be touching you in this any type of fucking way. It's weird. And I feel like really having that connection of being open with your kids. Yes. I feel like a lot of time kids don't have that connection with their parents. So they're scared to be like, you know, this is what happened to me. Because I know in our culture, it's like, oh, like I had that with my mom. Like, oh, I told her what happened. And it's like, oh, you know, just don't tell nobody. Yeah, he's weird, but it's whatever. Like, that's just how he is. No, that's not okay. Like, I feel like we have to really explain that to our kids and put it out there because a lot of people just push it to the side and it's a lot more serious than people think.
Yeah, I agree. I've had similar instances where I would speak up to my family, broke down, cracked, told them what the fuck happened with my deal. They were like, oh, well, you know, let's tell all the other girls, make sure they're safe. And then they kind of just tell everybody, but no change ever gets done because they don't want you to tell. They don't want our family looking broken. They don't want our family looking, because I feel like Latinos are so quick to say family first, family strong. So, and honestly, I feel like a lot of Latinos in their culture, it's kind of like high school. If you're like, let's say you're like a Seves family, or Garcia family, or Lopez family, you're all still one family, but you guys still click and try to look better to each other. So no one wants that stigma of having that weird fucking deal. You know, do you feel like most of the deals are from Mexico, or do you feel like a lot of them are born here? I personally feel like a lot of them are the ones from Mexico. I don't really see any born here that are like naturally fucking extra weird, because they are more Mexican Americanized.
I don't know. I feel like, again, it boils down to who raised you. I feel like my advice would be practice discipline with your kids. And when I mean discipline, I'm not just saying always whoop their ass. I'm saying to like make sure you watch what they watch, because pornography can be a huge, like at such a young age, and also like cartoon pornography and diving deep more into it can be at a young age. It can really take a toll on how people think how sex is, you know, and they think like this is okay, trying to like, you know, get intimate with a child when you're like older. And I think it's just discipline and supervision, proper supervision with your children, and moral standards, and making sure they're on the right path. And when they do like fuck up, or you see them, you need to whoop their ass, because you need to let them know that's just not okay. Like, I'm a firm believer in ass fucking whooping. I know we're in 2022 and you can go to
23.
Well, you're right. 2023. I know we're in 2023. Okay.
I was like, wait a minute.
You know, you can cut up for whooping your kid's ass, but that needs to happen sometimes.
So you feel like it would be discipline, and then speaking up would be a big thing.
And
Disciplining the
and
kids.
supervision. Making sure they're not watching shit at like a young age.
I feel like YouTube is so fucking unsupervised.
Unregulated.
Like, girl, I'd be like, what the fuck are you watching? My brother be watching videos, shit in Japanese, Korean. Like, you don't even know English.
Yes, but like they just have so much access to so much stuff now, and I get it. You don't want your kid to be like lame because like you don't got Snapchat, you don't got this, you don't got Instagram. But supervising your kids, like I used to get my phone taken away at 8 o'clock every night.
Me too.
When I was a kid, I was not allowed to sleep over anybody's house.
No sleepovers. That was a big thing. Let's talk about that. I'm glad you said it. Let's dive into that. Why don't more like Latino American, or I feel like natural women who are more open-hearted and genuine-hearted, why don't they let their daughters sleep over at friends, cousins, or tios?
Porque uno nunca sabe.
Yes.
That's the
fucking uno
I don't
nunca
care
sabe.
because she has a brother, because she has a dad, because her grandpa lives
Uno
there.
nunca
If
But
sabe.
they know.
man in
They
the
know
house,
it happens.
they know.
But why don't they expect it to happen in our own family? That's what's crazy. They expect, us to go to somebody else's house with a bunch of Mexicans, but their daughter can come into our family and get looked by the same way by our deals.
Exactly. It's weird as fuck.
I mean, I was only allowed to sleep over my cousin's house. I will say I never really experienced that with my only deal that lived with us. But then again, nothing ever happened. But now that I'm looking at, it does a little.
It shouldn't have to happen.
But it shouldn't. Happen. You're right. You're right. But you're definitely right with that. But I don't know. Again, like it just boils down to the nitty gritty of that. But you're definitely right.
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
I really am.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you for joining us another episode of Wake Up. You know, we were just summing up for those who just joined on our live right here, the weird uncle in the family and how to avoid the stigma and continue it on for our future generations. You know, to final up the advice, Miss Beyonce over here says to speak up, advocate, and just talk to somebody. You know, it could be your sister, it could be your brother, it could be uncle, whoever in the world you confide in. Just speak up. Be like, you know what, this doesn't feel right and I don't like it. And maybe, you know, one day someone will make the right decision to speak up and things will start to change. But it only starts to change if you speak up. And over here, Martha says it goes with the parents. You got to discipline your children. So if a man's doing something, if a little, you know, it's natural. Sometimes little boys smack each other's butts and smack each other's girls' butts. They don't realize as you get older that's wrong. It's called sexual harassment. It's like battery. There's so many different ways that can go wrong. And if you teach your child and your son at a young age, I feel like it will limit the amount of pervs and limit the amount of theos and just over-sexualize men thinking it's okay to do things to us where we feel like we have to silence ourselves to keep the peace. And that's where the wrong is in Latino culture. But I just like to say thank you, Martha and Beyonce, for joining us today on this segment.
I just want to say, play with your mama, not me.
Kids, not me.
Thank you.
Play with your mama, play with your kids. Thank you for joining us another episode of Wake Up.
Wait, not like that.
That was good.
Oh my god, I want to talk so much. Oh my god, I was like,
I feel like
next one I want
definitely
these topics. This is what I like.
Makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
I feel like this, like right.
I'm not. I was able to talk
I
so
love
much.
this.
I feel like damn,
Right?
bitch, shut up.
I was over there like dying to like just jump in, but I know I couldn't. But it's like,
I know, I
this
seen
is
you.
what I like the intimateness, because this is where we get to like
The
really
nitty-gritty,
show.
right? I
And
gotta feel like a motherfucker.
Girl, you and me, I'm like,
I have to pee
what
so
I
bad.
wanted to-
Telling that
you know what I
baby.
wanted to say too, like it's crazy because you know where it starts from. I know you were talking about the woman. You know why? Because they're so scared of the men.
That could be a
We were
reason.
born to be scared of our inferior men at that age back in the day.
I think too, like
You know what
with
I
their
did?
dads
I
and
broke the
stuff.
generation. I'm the generational curse. I'm
Really?
the one that had my daughters at 18, 19. Yeah, I did. But I broke their continuous of that.
Good for you, girl.
Because I was open and stuff. And so I was glad that she was able to say, like, you gotta be open with your
You
kids.
definitely do. No, she was making some valid points. You need help?
She was.
got
And
you,
she's
girl.
so young because she came from a good mother who was like open with her. And a lot